Drugs are awesome. They're so fun, it's almost like they're addictive or something. But sadly, drugs are expensive, unlike the cars on this list, which are fun and addictive without being expensive. I'm gonna show you the most fun cars you can buy for $3,000, and make sure you watch all the way through because some of these are extremely fun daily drivers. And the first car on this list is the Mini Cooper S. Now, the biggest reason this car is on this list is because it has a supercharger. And yes, it sounds awesome like a supercharged car should. I've actually driven a convertible one, and it sounds amazing. In addition, it also has center exit exhaust like a fucking GT3, and it also came with either a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic with paddle shifters. If you combine these things together, then you have the stuff of teenage wet dreams, but you can buy it for like $3K. Now, you should keep in mind that these cars are less reliable than Kobe's helicopter, so there is a reason they're that cheap. But, you know, this is still an awesome car. I would compare this to more the crack cocaine of cars because it's really fun and it's really cheap, but it's not gonna last that long. So if you want something that lasts a little bit longer, then take a look at the Honda CRX. The Honda CRX is basically the smallest, hence most fun Honda that you can buy, especially for driving around a city. The most horsepower you could get in the States was 108, but they weigh under 2,000 pounds, and they just have that really good Honda handling, and they're small as fuck, which means they're super fun, even at like 15 miles per hour. Also, part of this is due to the fact that if you crash going 15 miles per hour, then you're gonna die because it's a tin can. But even though that makes them extremely fun, I still wouldn't buy one because they're front wheel drive. Because if your only goal is to have fun, then you need something rear wheel drive like the Mazda Miata. And yes, you still can find these cars for $3K, although it's a bit of a stretch, but for good reason, okay? They're rear wheel drive, they're really light and small, and they're reliable, they're mechanically sound. This car is pretty much the alcohol of fun cars. I mean, it's always gonna be fun, but you'll probably end up spending too much money. I think the most fun thing you can do with this car is just weld the diff and then drift it everywhere you go. This is the perfect car for doing that. But if you're looking for a little more power in a fun car, then you should look at the Ford Crown Victoria Police Interceptor. This car has a 4.6 liter V8, it's rear wheel drive, and you can buy a super clean one for $3K. However, I think the most fun thing to do is just buy one and abuse the shit out of it like these guys. They're really reliable and cheap to replace, which means they're the perfect car to buy and then destroy by hooning it, and then just buy another one. I'd compare this to an acid of fun cars because you can use it basically as much as you want, but after a while, people are gonna start to think you're weird. But I know what you're thinking. Reliable and safe is boring. Alright, well, let's take a look at the Mazda RX8 then. Now, since these cars are so unreliable, you can buy them for pennies on the dollar. They made over 200 horsepower, they are rear-wheel drive, they handle really well, and they're practical because of those stupid ugly rear doors. This car is a lot like meth. It's really fun at first, but it'll probably ruin your life if you do it every single day. That's why I'd use this car as like a fun canyon carver. Just enjoy the chassis and the engine until it breaks. But you could actually do better than 200 horsepower, like, for example, the Audi A4 1.8T. Now, the reason this is on the list is because it's a dirt cheap turbocharged car. They're super tunable and you can make a ton of horsepower on this block, plus there was also an all-wheel drive option. I think the most fun you could have with this car is just tuning the shit out of it for cheap and see how fast you can make it. I mean, if you want to do that, you want to get a clean one, then you'll probably have to go for front-wheel drive though. So, if you want an all-wheel drive version, then take a look at the Honda CR-V. The Honda CR-V is super cheap, and they also came with a B20 engine, which, if you didn't know, the B series is the predecessor to the K series. Ever heard of it? Now, this means it was pretty lively for an SUV, and it also came with a manual option. They also have part-time all-wheel drive, which is perfect because as soon as you start spinning the front wheels, then it sends power to the back, which means the back will start sliding out. But if you're just looking for pure, raw, fun speed, then you should look into the Toyota MR2. These are mid-engine and rear-wheel drive cars, so it's basically like a Ferrari, for 1% of the price. Now, I couldn't really find them for $3K when I was researching, but that's what you're supposed to do in these videos, I think. Just lie about the price. I mean, I actually have found them for this price in the past, but I just couldn't find any this time. So I wanted to put it on the list still, because it's still a really fun, affordable car, but it's gonna be hard to find for this price. Now, if you want to get a little bit more money and then be able to afford it, or a nicer version of the other cars, then you will probably need to murder someone or rob a bank to get that money, because obviously you're not going to get a job. So watch this video if you want to see the best cars to escape the police in. Consider subscribing if you want to see more videos like this in the future. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next video. I mean, there will be a next video, I think, unless I die.